הדובר הבא שלנו הוא אחד האדריכלים שאנחנו בעצם הכי אוהבים, והוא חולק איתנו את התשוקה לירוק. לצערנו הוא לא הצליח להגיע השנה לכנס, אבל הוא הבטיח לנו שהוא בקרוב מאוד יבקר, ואנחנו נעדכן מתי. האדריכל סטפנו בוארי הוא המייסד של סטפנו בוארי אדריכלים. לפני 10 שנים בערך הם הקימו את שני מגדלי הבוסקו ורטיקלה, פורצי הדרך במילאנו, ומאז הם מובילים את השילוב של טבע באדריכלות עירונית.
Hello, and thanks so much for inviting me. I'm really sad not being with you today in Jerusalem, but I'm sure that happen very soon, and I will come to know you and to show you in person what we do, what we have done. It's an honor for us. Well, what I'm going to do is to talk and present some of the project we have developed in the recent years. So what I'd love now to do is to show you some of the projects that we have developed with our studio. We have now studio based in Milano, one in Shanghai, and another one in Tirana, Albania. And basically, all what we have done in the last year is in a certain way influenced by what we are used to call a green obsession. That means, in other words, that we are in a way obsessioned by the idea to put together the urban sphere and the natural sphere. This is why we have developed projects, proposals, master plans, and also, let's say, produced several research on this field. And this is why also, thanks to the publication of a book like Green Obsession, who was just awarded by the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, well, we are trying to, let's say, not simply introduce this necessary marriage between living nature and architecture in our theories, but also hopefully in our practices. Probably the most known project of this, let's say, approach is the vertical forest in Milano. It's a building we have built, let's say, 10 years ago, 9.5 years ago. But the first plants were moved from the botanic nursery to the construction site 12 years ago. That means that we have now a quite important case study where we are used to verify and text all the experiments and they say the improvements that we are experimenting in order to, let's say, introduce in the other vertical forest that we are realizing as a part of the war some evolutions and also sometimes some steps forward. So this building, as you know, is hosting basically 21,000 plants, more than 900 trees and shrubs of different species, more than, let's say, 30 different species of plants and trees. And it's a building that also use the water that comes from the underground city and thanks to a system of very, let's say, sophisticated water management, it can use a system of irrigation that at the end of the cycle puts the water on the underground. It's a building which has many other characters who have been also appreciated by, as I was saying, by also the manifesto, the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. And basically, it's a botanic garden. So what we are normally used to do is to select the species of plants in relation with the specific climate condition of the site. And only at that moment, we start to, let's say, only when we have selected the species, we start to design as a facade of our building, trying to make all the plants in condition to grow in the best ways they need, and trying to, let's say, respect their evolution trajectory. This is the botanic nursery for Milano, for instance. That's the text we have done. This is the one in Florida, the biggest corridor for where they testing distance of building in the typhoon condition. And this is what we do in terms of water management, which is one of probably the most important part of the techniques that we have to introduce when we work on the building. This is more or less where we are now to realize other buildings or other settlement that have the same kind of character. One of the last is this vertical forest we have built 2 years ago in Eindhoven, Holland. And what makes this building so important for us, we are very proud of that, is it is a social housing vertical forest. So it's building for rent. It costs more than 200 students. And the cost of renting an apartment is very low. And the construction cost is very low. So thanks to prefabrication, we have learned thanks to this experiment, thanks to this case study, we are used to consider our architectural experiments. So probably this makes our profession so intriguing, and also what we do so, let's say, amazing, also from the point of view of the risk that we keep, but also of the, as there is a proud to be result. And that is a building that has, for the first time, introduced a very important number of trees and plants, but with a drastically cut of the construction cost of the building some months ago. You see here some diagrams showing how the building works and the distribution of this system of apartment all around. And it's so great to see how students are used to, let's say, recently decline the interiors also thanks to their desire, thanks to the expectation, but conserving this relation with the external place. That's another building which is in construction, not so far from Eindhoven. We are in Utrecht here, and this is the building in construction. This is already built. Also in this case, you see the variety of species that we are introducing. What makes this building interesting is it is a mixed-use building with a very important variety of functions. So the basement is commercial, then we have office building, and then different kind of residential apartment, and that's again the building in construction. But we have done experiments also in China. This is another social housing towers, a vertical tower in Hangguang, southeast China. And this is a building we are going to finish next month in Nanjing. It's another vertical forest, very high, with a hotel and a very high office building, and it's very basic built. We have just to conclude some of the at the end of the construction. But just to enter more in the issue of the conference, so to enter more in the issue of rooftop, of green rooftop, this is Antwerp, Belgium, not Holland, but Belgium. And here, for instance, we had built 3 years ago quite a small residential environment. But what makes this experiment for us extremely interesting, that it was the first time that we're using very massive presence of plants of different variety, different species on the top of the roof, creating a collective space. So really green, as it happens with all our building, is a kind of common good that is completely available for all the tenants of the building. And this happens also with this roof and with its plants. And we know well the green roof benefits. So I need to go back to that, how in terms of water quality, respecting biodiversity, and also other advantages, green roof could really, let's say, improve the quality of life of the citizen. This is a building which is in construction now in Milano, is a variation on the vertical forest theme. In this case, it's a courtyard. It's not so high, so it's 11th floor on the top of the northern side, but it has such a high number of plants and trees. And also in this case, what makes this building quite interesting is the presence of this sequence of green roofs, let's say, that are distributed on all the branches of the building. If we want to enter another sphere, which is a sphere or building that are retrofitted, well, retrofitting using green, That's an experiment we are doing in Tuscany, in Prato, with a very, let's say, not so old office building, which will be completely redefined by this autonomous green structure of balconies and loggias. And the same experiment we have done in Brussels. We are now working in Brussels with the same issue, with a very interesting building. And this is a roof, again, a roof which is a green roof. But probably the most relevant experience we had on green roof, it's the one that we have developed 14 years ago in Milano. We won a project. Unfortunately, the project is in construction only now, after 10, 12 years. But this project remains, in our opinion, extremely interesting because it has this 7,000 square meter of roof garden that is there for therapeutical use. And so we will have in the sky of Milano this kind of, let's say, affordable green urban balcony at 25 meters. And this is something that we are extremely proud also in terms of its dimension and its relation with other public building in Milano. And we believe that this will become a kind of catalyzer of interest, not only for the patient and the user of the hospital, but also for the citizens. Here you see some more detailed design of what we are planning to have on this green roof that will stay in the sky of the city. Just to not forget what we do at the different scales, this is, for instance, the project for the Tirana master plan that we did in 2014. But I show this simply because after the earthquake, 2018 in Tirana, we have developed this riverside project that is in construction now. And what makes this new district, in our opinion, quite relevant is not simply that it is respecting strictly this 15-minute city, let's say, requirement, but it's also a building that uses the rooftops has a common place, or collective public space. So rooftop and gardens are extremely relevant. So that means that we will not have only let's say, a pedestrian walkable life on the ground floor of the city, but also at the level of the roofs. And this is why we are working so much, and also so imagining that roofs will become and are already in a certain way the kind of new entrance to the life of the building from different point of view, not only for the goods, but in the future probably also again to the tenants. Different scale means also experience that we are doing in other cities like Genève. That's a project we had developed some years ago. It's the idea of how we could imagine a vision for the future of Genève, Switzerland, where Genève is connected with Annecy in French, with this circle of forest and small villages, urban villages, that is superimposed to the CERN accelerator that is based in Genève. And that will help the system of circular urban settlement to, let's say, to use the production of clean energy that the accelerator will have in the future. But what makes this project, in our opinion, quite interesting is the fact that at the center of this new metropolitan environment, we don't have let's say, a historical center. We don't have a square. We don't have a synagogue or a church or a mosque. We have a mountain. And this the idea of how we can have at the center and the focus of the core of our city, a natural monument, a natural element. That's another project we are developing in Mexico. It's a forest city in the place of let's say a huge horizontal concrete platform was built, expecting to realize a mall that was never built. And so we have been asked to substitute and to intervene in order to go back to nature, and that's what we are proposing. So a system of universities, centers, and the research center that are all, let's say, in different variation related with green buildings and with a very important attention to desalinized water maintenance and circulation. And all this is also an aspiration to have a quite relevant energetic self-sufficiency with this buffer of solar panels all around. You see also this in south east Mexico in Cancun. But we started also to work in the, let's say, arid climate environments, arid climate and urban environments. And what we have done is to really imagine to create a kind of manifesto where we are putting together all we instruments and the tools, the idea we could have to make arid climate urban environment, let's say, cooler and also less with the heat island effects. So you see here probably some of the devices that we are now proposing, a system of, let's say, solution that can be added, also combined by them in order to change the quality of life of the city and to try to deal with what will become the future, probably one of the main issues related with global warming and climate change. The fact that part of our territory will become unlivable, and so that's the reason to really pay attention to what is possible to do now in the desertic and arid region in order to, let's say, make this solution affordable for cities that will become arid in the next future, like the North European or South European, sorry, or North African cities. This is Milano, for instance. That's an idea of the surface temperature last August. And there's also a way to show, thanks to a satellite view with the thermal surface, how the vertical garden project is amazing in terms of capacity to reduce the heat on this part of the city. And again, just to finish, to conclude, this is a project that we have presented last year at COP in Egypt, and it's a project in Dubai. What makes this project for us important? This is, let's say, putting together water management, a very large surface for solar panels, and also cultural cultivation. So all this together in a city of Dubai, it's such an amazing challenge. But again, it's a way to, let's say, start to do our best. I want to conclude with this poster. It's an image of the Congress that we are going to organize together with FAO and other international institutions in Washington on October 16, 20 October. We were the promoter together with FAO of the first World Forum on Urban Forests, who was hosted in Mantua in Italy 4 years ago. And now we are, let's say, preparing the second edition. I really hope that you have the opportunity to come and to, let's say, see how, let's say, today an enormous number of cities is sharing experiences and sharing projects on this issue, on this field. So that's why I hope to meet you in Washington the next October. What we will do in Washington will be to show our project, to show our master plan, but also to show a project that we are developing for Italy. You probably know this amazing idea developed by Richard Weller, which is a colleague teaching at Penn University in the United States. And what he says is that one of the steps we should do in the future is to put in connection all the biodiversity hotspots present in the world. We know that Italy is one of the most important hotspots of biodiversity, and that's why we are now working in order to put in connection all the natural areas, the natural parks, the biodiversity areas that are around in the maritime or the land of Italy, with biodiversity corridors and also walkable paths that will, let's say, create a new condition. We know well that biodiversity and connectivity are the two pillars of what has been done in a place like Italy, where we need to put in connection this biodiversity hotspot in order to multiply their advantages. on the climate condition, on biodiversity, and on lifestyle for all the citizens. Again, here you see an image of the project that is at the moment probably one of the most advanced projects we have developed for Italy. And well, forestation, urban forestation capacity to, let's say, to imagine to make cities greener, introducing a very important number of plants and trees is combined with the creation of this, let's say, suburban or completely side-urban green and biological corridors. Thank you so much for your attention. I repeat that I would be more than happy to join you next time to have the opportunity to meet all of you. And really, really thank you so much for your kind invitation.